We're on the way. Hey. We're on the way. We have to get there exactly on the second. Then it comes down to the time. Then you're dominating to the time.
Not dominating time. They were looking at this. The time is now. Nothing dominant for the time.
The time is now. So wherever you're at right now is the right time.
You know how many people want that watch back? There were two crazy people want Shmini and Abe.
Silent majority.
Two crazy people. Okay.
That's a pretty big majority.
Okay, good. Most people want the watch back.
No. Hey.
Oh yes.
There is a clock in the corner.
You started to sound like Korah.
It's Korach said Parsha this week.
There is a watch in the corner, by the way. Next day, there's a watch over there.
At least put any watch.
There's a watch over there. There's a watch over there.
Put a watch in every show has a watch.
You know, if you listen to Moshe's to Korach's
you don't want this watch to say when the Zman is.
Like a woman's
okay,
argument,
put a regular
like she was
watch.
at home going, ask Moshe.
And put a sticker.
He
He used to put every day.
A guy wouldn't come up with this argument.
On the WhatsApp, when the net says everything, he used to put it every day. Remember?
His wife like checked.
Nothing now.
And if you see, it starts off by Yikach Torah.
What are you looking for?
Ben Yitzhak ben Kasper Levi.
Oh, right here.
Va'oin ben Pelas. At the end it says only that Korach came.
Oin didn't go.
Rashi says Va'oin Heichan Hava. Where did Oin end up? Says his wife gave him a cheshbon and said, listen, dude, you're getting involved in a fight. You ain't gonna win anyway. In any case, you're not gonna be the boss. So what's your dog in this whole fight? What are you choosing a side for? And that's really, and I think this Torah, the next Torah is gonna get to it. Meaning, what does it mean that when a wife saves us? The bina in us, the rational side in us that looks at our taivas and says, you have this taiva, you want to go this way, but then the oin heichan hava. Where was he? Where was he when it came to the problem? His bina held him back. His wife said, make a cheshbon. You're a yid. You have so much to lose and so little to gain by following this taiva. And in so many different things, we can make that the choice every single day.
Who said this? To one?
So what? Rashi just quotes about Oin ben Pelas va'oin heichan hava. I'm sure I'm quoting a medrash. Va'oin heichan hava towards the end. In the beginning it says Vayikach Korach ben Yitzhak ben Kasper and Levi va'oin ben Pelas. Right? At the end, Oin is not mentioned. In the beginning, he was one of the big heavy hitters in the argument against Moshe Rabbeinu, and then towards the end, he was out.
What's towards them when they got buried?
When they got buried, and even when they came back to fight, when Moshe called Korach, Oin didn't come back.
No.
He was only in the first argument. He wasn't in the second argument. He got saved. His wife saved him.
Yes.
His wife told him, "You got no dog in this fight. You're fighting. It's Korach and Moshe Rabbeinu. Let them fight it out. Stay out of it." Yeah. The wife, whenever the wife
that's what we're learning. That's what we're learning. Don't get involved.
Exactly.
That's it.
Don't be an idealist.
It's not about being an idealist.
Don't
be in a machloikas. When the thing is machloikas, when the thing you do you. You do you, and if it offends people, I'm so sorry.
Like this machloika now.
So
like this machloika today.
Oh my gosh, you're getting involved.
Like this machloika today.
Why are you getting involved?
Don't get involved. Don't get involved. Let them fight out. Abe, let them fight.
Because that's a machloikas l'shem
Shemayim.
Okay. Machloikas l'shem shemayim. Even if it gets heated, it's okay. It's soifeles kayemes. You know what that machlokes was today? Why it's a machlokes l'shem shemayim? It was the most l'shem shemayim. It's the same conversation we talk about here every day. Do we have to daven mincha, or do we want to daven mincha? Or do we choose to daven mincha? Do we need to get a stempel every day? I was geminchad. I was gescheinerd. I got my stamp for the day. So there are people that feel that way about tachnan. We have to get our tachnan stempel. It's important that we get our stamp, we tachnan. And if we have to tachnan, we tachnan. And then we do it because we have to do it.
I get a sticker. I get a sticker. I get a sticker.
The other side
We have to do
was,
tachna or
I don't
not?
have to do tachna.
I get my man
If
a
I'm doing
sticker.
tachna, I want to do tachna. Slow down.
Yeah, get my sticker. Is such a
Let's
nice.
do it. Let's do
Hello,
it.
Rabbi. Rabbi,
I
tachna
don't
is such a
have to get my
nice,
stempel.
such a
It's the
nice,
same
such a
argument.
nice prank. Sisha, tachna is such a nice. If you look at
Tachna,
it,
if you look through the
depressing.
svarim, it's not depressing, it's the exhaust pipe.
no.
You need to release negative energy.
Right.
We always need to exhale the carbon dioxide.
I
Literally,
appreciate you
it's-
speaking the I manner and the you manner. You know, like I don't feel like I need to release that negative energy first thing in the morning. Like, boom, Ushamni, Bagadni, Gizalni, Bani,
It's not the first
You
thing.
know,
It's after the rest of
Do it
it.
by Marav, you know.
I would much rather. I'm gonna be a little cursed, but go to the bathroom and clean myself. out
first thing in the morning.
Yeah, okay. That's,
Then at night and carry it around
Yeah,
all day.
that's what they say.
If there's one time I want to clean my everything, I want to do it first thing in the
Exactly.
morning. So the first thing in the
Speaking of
morning,
which, I did
we
that
want to
also
get rid of our negative
Talking about
energy,
yesterday, extra.
and we want
we
to
don't want to blow up on the next
exhaust,
person.
and we want to make sure our exhaust pipe.
Say tachna.
Say tachon, but
Yeah.
mean it. You don't have to, because you want to, and we're being intentional about what we're doing. We're saying Hashamnu Baganu because we're regretting yesterday the mistakes we made. That is how we release negative energy. We release negative energy by saying the mistakes we made yesterday weren't me. Today I'm a new me. That's not me anymore. That's tshuva. I learned from that. I'm a new me. I'm exhausting that. I'm blowing that out. That's the Shamdu Baganu in my CO2 and my exhale. If you're just going to inhale, you're going to explode.
Wow, wow.
You
wow.
need to exhale. And the exhaling is acknowledging that my day wasn't perfect. As much as I wanted everything to go a certain way and I wanted to choose, really making positive choices in every choice I make. But
brother, you right.
Zisha the preacher.
I'm getting high for you.
These are the preachers.
I'm getting high.
as much as we try to make right choices, we find ourselves in situations where we didn't make the right choice every time. If that's the
Thank
case,
you, Zane.
we need to get rid of that.
Thank you.
Or it's very helpful to get rid of that. It'll seep out somewhere. It'll end up in another argument. It'll end up somewhere else. But when we exhaust it intentionally and say we made these mistakes, we chose left when we could have chosen right yesterday. And that's all it is acknowledging those mistakes from yesterday and saying today I'm a new guy and I just cleaned myself out.
This explains why
And then you can do it again at night usually.
Yeah, but it's a little different. Meaning
That's the question. That's the question. Why do we say Salah Chonu right after Yom Kippur? By Marav. Why are we saying? We just finish everything. Why?
The concept, the one says in.
It's because Rav Pinchas,
It's like we're asking in advance for how fast I'm about to die tomorrow.
Good.
The word says like.
I told you.
Because we were right back.
The word says if there's 12 other kabunas that are being brought for the same purpose, different chadush, like Sina Rosh Chadush Machaper, and says like what's that all like? Why every month? So whatever happens in between these two, like whatever, like it's So
We're not perfect. We're right away. We think we're good. We're not good.
Some people went to the bathroom already and did something, like whatever. And the collective is already tarnished. We have to do it again. But I'm saying the physical process of what you have to unload to the negativity happens overnight. Well, while I'm sleeping, what sins am I doing?
Hashem only knows.
What says Zisha? What did he say? Zisha,
Okay,
what did he
let's
say?
Toilet cafe. You got it?
What did he say, Zisha? What did he say? What did he say? Good? Oh, he's the best when he sleeps.
So good.
That's what I'm saying.
Awesome.
When I sleep on the bed, I didn't say
So good. It was so
I'm steiging away. I'm so steiging
Your mother
away.
told me you're so good when
You know,
I know,
listen.
like
The Litvische guys. Now comes Chodesh off. Chassidim zoek off. Oef. The Litvische say off. Oh, Chodesh off. The Keishs.
No, yeshiva.
Hello, they do tshuva gezorgd.
Come back. Up the dargos in the tefillah, and we achieve that point of connection to Hashem. That's where we want to pulse whatever it is that we have to get out.
Yeah, she's
That's
Hashem being
where
Malta.
all of a sudden it's built up, and it's like, oh my gosh, I can't live with myself being like this. The disparity is too much. Let me.
Oh yeah, oh, hey, whatever you say, good. Whatever you say, hey, whatever you say.
So it should be before Shmoneh Esrei.
after, because Shmon Esrei is the Yichud.
Zisha.
So only after you got you realize what you did wrong?
It's not that you realize that you did wrong, it's that then you realize you achieved another level of closeness. It's like Torah. When you do tshuva ala tshuva, so when you achieve
I have
something,
a different
you know,
question.
sometimes it's like,
Whole
maybe you did
different
something wrong in your relationship with your wife, and you apologize.
But it's still not
At a
full.
certain point, you realize
Again?
what it was that was disconnected, and then you're like, oh my gosh, I want to reconnect that because that's the point. That's the whole point. Yes, I apologize.
After you reach that height, you realize what that low is.
You do it.
I'll do it.
Do it today then.
Why don't you do Yom Kippur today?
Okay, Chaim, you have to Chafei?
No.
I don't do anything.
Okay, we're going into another one of these interesting stories in Gemara B'chayres that talk about the Sabbath Beituna, when Yeshua ben Hananiah had conversations with the elders of Athens. And they asked him fascinating questions, and he answered fascinating answers, and the Gemara recounts them. And obviously, they don't mean what the reality of it, what the
Same
questions
Gemara or
are.
different Gemaras?
It's the same Gemara that keeps going,
Which
one
where is
after
it?
another.
Shabbos?
In Bechayres. And here comes another one. The last one was, they asked him where the center of the universe was. And he
Yeah,
picked
you
up his
measured,
finger,
it says over here.
and he said over here, and he said, they said, how do you know? He
No.
said, bring measuring tapes and measure, you'll
You
see.
measured out and it was here.
And
Right.
Center of the universe is everywhere, essentially, no?
Look at your look at your fingerprint. Look at your fingerprint.
Yeah, no.
Looks like the galaxies.
Well, let's start the next one now. Amrulay, the Sabbath
the galaxy Milky
Beituna
Way?
said to Yeshua ben Hananiah,
From this perspective,
Achvalan mana d'lai shavya
he was just
l'chavah.
round and round and round.
That's the Greek guy that figured out what the circumference,
Part and parcel with the galaxy.
how far it is
Goodbye,
towards
Anthony. Sell that to me.
Circumference.
circumference, whatever. You figured out the circumference.
It's good.
It's
good. I like
You
it.
asked.
Amrulay,
No.
I thought it's chocolate.
the Sabbath Beituna said to Yeshua ben Hananiah, Achvalan mana d'lai shavya l'chabah. Give me something, give me an item, show us an item that's not worth the hefsed, the loss that it's going to cause. Show me something that's not worth, that's going to cause more loss than the thing itself.
It's more depreciation than appreciation.
Correct. Aisu Budya, he brought a huge carpet. Pashtu, they rolled it out. V'layhava aya l'sara, and they couldn't fit it in the door. Amalahu, Aisu Mara, Sisru, bring an axe, and let's break the whole house to allow for this carpet to fit in the door.
Break the door.
Break the whole house, more than the door. Hi, Numana de la Shavya Lechabala.
640.
Here you got something
Thank you.
that here's a beautiful rug, but it's not worth its own value because you can't get it in the door.
Oh my gosh,
So it's
amazing.
Roll it up
worthless.
and take it in.
Amazing.
Obviously, you couldn't,
There was a table in my
There
house
was-
that they tried selling for $15,000,
but they.
and they couldn't get it off of the porch. So now I have that table, and essentially, what's it worth?
Nothing.
Is that crazy or what?
Yeah.
You don't have a
So that's literally the
What?
case. That's literally the case.
Haman
Literally
broke
the
his
case. The
whole
thing that's worth.
Haman broke his whole house down to get the one beam to kill Haman, to kill Mordechai.
It's like a stone table.
No, it's like
And then there's another
It's like from
measure.
Noach's
the
table.
bottom of a tree.
He had the beam was the whole the line was holding his whole house.
Part
It's
of
like
a
I'm destroying the whole
bar.
house.
You need like 6 men to lift it.
And then there's Mishnah, Mishachara Beis HaMikdash Batal HaShameh. There's a Mishnah in Masechta Saita that says after the Beis HaMikdash was Nisbatal, I'm assuming the first, Batal HaShameh,
The bottom.
the worm that they would place on top of stones, on the Avnei Eifod and on the Chayshin,
The Shamir.
and the Shamir.
Tzchak Shamir.
They would split on their own. Must have been some kind of vibration or something that the worm would give out in a way that
They
they
gave a lot for this.
They-
Ashmazai gave
correct.
the secret.
they
No,
would
they
put a
don't.
worm on a stone and it would split the stone.
Did also by the choshen,
And
and it
the
made the
choshen
engraving,
and-
the,
it would eat
the
the
letters.
And the Abnei Eifed.
Or with like a wood eating worm. It would.
But it was also the time of the midbar.
We can all guess.
In the
No, they
midbar
found
by the
They found
Mishkan.
evidence of it.
What did it say? It's a water jet.
V'noifes tzufim, the idea of honey that comes from a place of tzipia, which is very expensive. Va'amana, and at that point, people stopped having emunah in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. This is things that Reb Nachman started bringing down. He started with the Sabbi Beituna, and then he brings down this Mishnah of Mishum Mechar
Maybe the
Beis
Shumer could have saved the...
Now he's going to come, we don't have to maybe, he's going to say, Kitzarech kal adam lahaitzi es atzmai ma'amadama. He's putting down a ground rule here. Rebbe, get yourself out of your head and out of your stories you tell yourself about the Yetzer Hara, meaning the stories that of anxiety about what's going to be today, the story of chasing our own covet and getting offended by things when people say to us, the stories of chasing relationships and feelings and emotions that we know we shouldn't. All of those medamas, all of those imaginations that we create in our head, all of those stories we tell ourselves. Kitzarach kol adam lahoitzi es atzmei min adam mehamedama v'la alois el ha-seichel, and go into the seichel of the thing. When he gets drawn after the medama and after everything that's in front of him, that all of a sudden now he's focusing on this and chasing on the next thing. Slave. This is when the heart is dominating, where it's completely dominating the whole experience. When the taiva is dominating, when the desire is dominating the experience, that's called shriya slave. The
Heart wants what it wants.
The heart wants what it wants. That concept, very well. When the heart is dominating, and to get out and to release yourself from this pressure of the heart being in complete and utter control, and we break that leiv ha'evan, that's the heart of stone, that weight that we say, this is the thing that's controlling me, this is the center of my universe. How do we break a rock? We know from history, we use the shamir. The shamir is the worm that we use to break the rock. What's the rock? The rock is the shriya salev. The shriya salev is when we don't have the mayach shalat halalev. We have the lev is in control. It has complete and utter dominance over my entire existence. I'm going to chase every desire, every feeling good. I'm going to run away and avoid every ill feeling and do whatever I can to get away from situations where I may feel not in a way that I'm going to feel on my ultimates. I'm going to avoid situations. That's all my heart taking control. Mm-hmm. That's my heart saying, my emotions are my number one, and I need to protect my emotions, and I need to follow. If this thing is going to make me feel loved today, I'm going to chase that, whether from the seichel point it makes sense for me to chase it or not. That's what I'm going to chase, because that's what my heart wants right now. Like you say, the heart wants what the heart wants. And when you go with that, and you say, I don't have control, the heart wants what it wants, that's Shriya Saleh.
But you're not telling yourself, I don't have control. You're just going with it. You're allowing your heart to be in control.
Correct. That's
Shriya
Saleh.
But you're not telling yourself, I'm not in control. You didn't even get to that.
Whether you are or you aren't.
You didn't get to that place of separation where you want to even separate that.
Or even if you did.
But I think it's all about a deeper place of like allowing your heart to dominate it. You don't even see the cycle.
That's what I'm saying.
The idea of these titles is really when emotions present themselves over the day, we can say, hey, we spoke about that this morning. I recognize this feeling. I recognize what this is going to lead up to.
Yeah.
Essentially a tool, it's not your whole reality map.
Exactly, that's all this is. The idea of breaking that Shriya Salev is the idea of the shamir. Shal yadai nichna ha'evan. Through it, it breaks the stone and it subjugates the stone. Ve'enei hoylach achetavas had midumiyos. And you don't follow all the taivas and midumiyos that you think it's going to be so much better in that situation. Ve'hoylach acher V'chol zman shaloi hoitzi sichlei ela poyel. And until you really start thinking about what do I want, that's what my heart wants. The heart wants what the heart wants, meaning no brain involved, just the heart wants what the heart wants. Let me get brain involved over here. And I could start acting. He goes, and now when you start, first thing is to stop and get control of the heart. There's no shiras halev. I first put my seichel involved, and I just, engage him into the transmission. Here, seichel, and I get him engaged in the transmission. I say, slow down, taivas, slow down, heart. Slow down, tiger. Yeah, in Rabbi Vincent always says from Remendel Futtefas, I think. Somebody came to him and said he was struggling with some Shmir Sabris issues. And he looks at him and goes, Meins bist der einzige Sacher in Moskva?
What does that mean?
You think you're the only male in Moscow? You think, because the einzige Sacher in Moscow.
Join the choir.
Exactly.
Dover, what's it? Dover,
Danziger?
yeah, Danziger said Shabbos. There was
Spoke the Shabbos?
I don't want to get off this.
No, it was on that same topic, but he basically said, it's like, this Rav said, I forgot which Hasidic Rav, he's like, the knife is still dripping blood, but I can still go down mincha. He's talking about his own shmir sabris. He's like, the knife is still dripping blood.
No contraceptives in this government.
But he was like, if I can't still go down mincha, then that means that I have no idea what Hasidus means.
Reb Nosson David Kivak. Once we're off topic. Reb Nosson, that's why I don't want to go. But once, Reb Nosson David Kivak.
We always get off.
Who's that? Who's that? Tiva? Who's that?
Who's like Kivak?
This
He's
big
one of Breslov and Mashvias.
big guy.
So
This is
Leibel will
beautiful
remember this
business.
story, and it's going to trigger a lot of. One of the most horrible stories that that Muncie ever experienced was a story with Tarfus that came out.
Oh, the chickens?
The chicken.
Is that what
It was more than chickens. It was one of the most horrible stories ever.
Yeah, you said David in our show.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right.
We all know.
He died.
All right.
During that, my friend who owns the Yeshiva World always thanks him and says he put me on the map. I owe him my whole parnasa because Yeshiva World came out that week and everybody wanted the updated news, and it was the first time people were going on to dial-up to get internet news. And he says I always have Hakar Satov. He put me on the map. Very funny. Anyway,
We're talking about
one second.
the negative thing.
Let's focus on one thing. Get off this one. Anyway,
The Lord works in mysterious ways.
the next morning, after the whole story broke, and everybody went crazy, and they wanted to stone the guy, Rabbi Kivak sent him a letter and said, "You're chayiv to daven shachris mincha ma'ariv.
Whoa.
Your tefillin, Hashem is waiting for you to put
Whoa.
on tefillin, and you're the same yid you were yesterday."
I'd never know how to handle it.
Wow! Right?
The matter.
He's actually
Right?
halfway better because now he's not going to sell the trifles again.
We don't know nothing.
It wasn't him.
The point is,
do
the
tachanun. Point is to do tachanun and get your exhaust pipe and then keep going.
It wasn't him. It was his partner.
B'chol zman shaloi hoitzi sechloi ala
That's what I'm saying. It's a
poyel.
tachanun.
And until we don't actually put the seichel in the driver's seat, shaloi yishtamish b'sichlei adayin. If you're not using and operating from your seichel, az etzloi haseichel b'koyach. The seichel is only there in potential. Alpha pisha kavah shavar amadama. You can break your madama, but not put your seichel in the driver's seat. You can hold up and say, okay, my moyach is going to be shalat al alev, meaning my mind is going to control my heart. I'm not going to chase. It doesn't make sense for me to do this. It doesn't make sense for me to do this and to chase that. But it doesn't put my seichel in the driver's seat.
What does that mean?
It puts me in neutral. It neutralizes
What's the
me.
seichel in the driver's seat?
Here goes. Ava bisha kvar shavar amadama. Meaning, he
kind of
neutralizes the medama. He's not running after his taibas abahamias. Oz niskoimem tchunas sechloi. At that point, when he puts the car into neutral, when he neutralizes his taibas, when he puts seichel into the taiba and stops it and says, hey, wait. At that point, the seichel will automatically elevate itself. Ki kishezeh comes and noifel. By the same idea that Rivka was told when she went to Shem Be'ever to hear why she was in so much pain during her pregnancy, and she was told because you have twins inside you.
Two nations.
And you have two nations inside you. And the message she got at that point was, and when this one will be up, that one will be down. And that's a concept that holds true from before they were born. And that's a concept that holds true within each one of us. When this one's up, that one's down. So when we...
Rashi's example for that is up to Nina's whatever, when both were on their heights actually. So.
Right. Yeah, very interesting, weird that
I
whole
think that
muscle
Antonina's actually compared
My father has a whole shtickle on it.
Oh, nice.
Aval, haseichel adayin, at that point, when we're in neutral, the haseichel adayin bekoyach, it's there in potential as chachma, ready to go. Va'achakach, and the next step is
We have to do something for that process of being b'koyach shel ignite, or that happens by itself, or just from the acknowledgement that there's a cycle, this starts happening.
By the acknowledgement that there's a cycle, which is controlling your nefesh habahamias. The first thing is controlling our nefesh habahamias. Saying my lave is not in control. It's not my emotions in control. I'm not the
I'm a slave to my emotions.
thermometer. I don't get set by everything around me. The temperature around me doesn't set my temperature, right? That is operating from a place of self, of my heart. What's going to make me feel good? What do we chase? What are the nafes habahamias that we chase? The things that are going to make me feel good. That's what we do all day.
Comfortable.
It's
comfortable hell.
Or bad, but feel.
We run back to our comfortable hell.
I love you. Or bad, but feel.
Yeah, some people like
On that topic, to go off topic, I was sitting at the lake house, and all of a sudden, I'm sitting with a friend, and he says he's going to have a friend come over and visit. I was from like 3 minutes away, 3 minminutes before, I was going motorcycles. And the streets like this, and it's louder and louder. He goes, yeah, they're here.
Bikers club showed up.
Three bikers show up, but not stunned, to the back of the house at 60 miles an hour, into the backyard, onto the dock, and make a short stop with a wheelie right in front of the water. Okay. 3 guys. One.
I know you're here.
Zoom, zoom, zoom. One after another. Takes up that big, long, blonde hair, really good-looking guy, huge tattoos. Hi, I'm Mendy. and the other guy was not Jewish. But you talk about, with the huge pads on their knees and on their ankles because they go all the way down, and on the shoulders. And the most fascinating, anyway, they have an organization with a 501c3 ready to go. What do?
Oh, you told me this.
He says 90% of people in motorcycle accidents die. The other 10% are missing legs, hands, half their face, eyes, ears. When you fall off a bike, I said, what's speed do you go? What's your? He goes, our cruising speed's about $140. And the cops don't even do that. It's illegal for them to even try. There's nothing to do. But that's what they like to do.
Right.
They like to
They're
do.
not supposed to chase.
They just
Living in misery.
Right.
I want to just feel something. I need to feel. Anyway, so these guys have an organization to help these guys that try to kill themselves once on the bike do it again.
Get back on the bike.
Get back on the bike. So they break prosthetics and they'll make the bike. They were showing me videos. This guy has no 2 feet he lost. We pick him up, we put him on the bike, and he goes like this, and then they need like 20 guys to hold it at the
That's
end
awesome.
to catch the bike because he can't fall either way. He's got nothing. You can't even through it. No, just put him on. They just want to get back on the bike. We're collecting money to get people back on the bike.
The name of that
I
bike
said,
that
I don't
brings
understand.
people
The
out.
guy literally tried to kill himself once, and he sucked at it. So you're gonna really help him do it again? And you want me to give you money? Tell me how much. And here comes the bike, of course, without a helmet.
Really?
I said, explain to me how you want me to get me to explain this to my wife. That I'm giving money.
A bike has never showed up here before. The
Okay,
one
so
time
this guy claims he's constitutional right not to have a helmet. Wait for Mashiach to walk in there.
It's his constitutional right.
Not a new. You know.
Okay, I should send
No,
I should already give him the guy's business card.
Florida, you need help. Florida, you
You may
need
want to
help.
help others. Get back on the bike. So you say,
You know, at its core, it's a beautiful thing.
It is. By the way, I'm a big fan of this.
So is your heart.
trip on it.
So is your
trip
heart
on
at
it.
its core is a beautiful
Trip on
thing.
it for a minute because it's a trip. He says their whole life is the bike.
Yeah.
Once they're off the bike, their life is over.
Used to have a
The
football.
day we get them back on the bike is the day they're alive again.
Yeah.
They need to feel something. They need to feel like they're almost dead. If they don't feel like they're almost dead, they're not alive. But is that a life?
Rhythm.
Is that life?
It's better
Is,
than nothing.
is it a life to need to feel almost dead in order to feel alive?
Why is that?
What is that
Why-
feeling?
why
They're
is
not
that-
feeling
why is
almost
it
dead
adrenaline?
going
I mean,
140.
all
I
of thrill.
guarantee they're feeling
all of thrill.
all
They're,
adrenaline.
they're doing the black diamond skiing.
Yeah, same
It's
thing.
the same thing.
Whenever you have a thing that demands full attention, it's therapeutic, it's engaging, it makes you feel alive.
No, the adrenaline.
It makes you
The
feel
adrenal.
alive.
The 94-year-old guy, 94-year-old guy on a skateboard,
Made for skiing.
on a luge, attached rockets. This 94-year-old guy needed to feel he's an adrenaline junkie because once you have that adrenaline, you can't. I momish thought I had drugged this little kid, this 3-year-old kid, the first time ever going on like this little ride. He was so scared. I'm like, no, go on, you have fun. The second the kid goes on it, and he gets off. He's like, I want to go again. I'm like, I just freaking drugged this kid. I literally thought, I'm like, this kid, I made this kid be a drug addict right now.
באפריקה, כשחויקה בשכלים,
I never saw a face of a 3-year-old person. I was
when
like,
you start
I give this
actually
kid drugs.
putting your seichel in the driver's
Experience
seat, azaya seichel b'poyel, then you move into active intelligence. When you activate active intelligence is when you're putting your seichel in the driver's seat.
But I thought you said before not to put the seichel in the driver's seat.
Not to put the heart in the driver's seat.
I thought it said that before
also.
I thought you said to keep self in the driver's seat. You put said neutral. And
No, the first thing is we need to break that. That gets us into neutral. That's the first step.
which is self-identifying
in the process.
what the heart wants,
First,
identifying what the
you
intelligence is
recognize
saying.
it.
Exactly.
See the behind
The
it.
intelligence could be flawed too. It's not necessarily always right. It's
Trying
not
to go to him.
right. It's self in the driver's seat.
Once you see the
Correct.
behemoth, now you can begin to.
Okay, so now it's so active intelligence.
Every day.
Good morning.
Shield,
Mark, we were just talking about
What
Morty.
are the areas? Except carpool.
You may know him, a guy Mendy, long blonde hair from New Square originally. He has an organization to get bikers back on bikes after horrible accidents.
He's a
You
lone
know
biker.
anything
He's
about
not,
it?
he's not part of one of those bikers.
They have
doesn't
like,
sound like someone I would know.
No.
good
Wait,
for you.
was Shamshi part of this?
I'm
group?
not part of the biker accident crew. I just
Was Shamshi?
Why don't you wear a helmet?
Wait, Zish, was there a guy with long hair named Shamshi? Long hair and pants.
Boy, tell them why you don't wear a
Oh,
helmet.
more nuts.
Cute guy.
Wow, Hashem.
Anyways, let's go on.
Yeah.
The Zabechenes Neifes Sufim. When you can put active intelligence in the driver's seat, you're not operating from a place of heart. You're not operating from a place of emotion. Yeah, putting active intelligence in the driver's seat. The Bechenes Neifes Sufim. You take the sweetness of your seichel and you move it from potential into actuality. All speech starts as a potential. This the potential of the mouth, which is all speech starts as voice, all speech starts as breath, until it comes out of the voice box through the vocal cords that gives it vibration, then into the mouth, throat, palate, tongue, lips, teeth, and all of that breaks up the words and the vibrations that create the ultimate sound that we're trying to create. But it goes from a place of potential, which is just the breath, which doesn't have anything differentiating the words. When it goes in, when I breathe in, before I speak it out, every drop of that breath is just potential of what's gonna come out. Dibur is the idea of moitzi me'akoyach el hapoel shu b'chinas hadibur. V'achar kach, kishemagia b'sichle kol ma sheyesh biyadenu shel lahasig, when he reaches with his intelligence everything that a human brain is capable of, any type of concept, az sechel shav, at that point the seichel returns to be seichel hanikna. At that point it becomes acquired intelligence, right? So there's active intelligence and acquired intelligence. Active intelligence is when the brain is connected to its source and it's in curiosity mode and it's out there searching and it's bringing back information from source. Then there's acquired intelligence. When I bring it in, I understand it, I bring it through my bina, into my dad, and I bring it into my life, into my constant knowing. It's in my constant consciousness. Because now it's seichel anikna. That's das. K'mo shekasav hamachakrim sheyesh seichel b'koyach b'seichel hapoel. There is b'seichel anikna. There's seichel in the potential, the seichel in the activity, the seichel hanikna, and seichel an acquired seichel. Ve'ike kiyumay shel adam la'acham bisasai. Einay ella seichel hanikna.
What
that? This means,
after death, the only thing that remains is the nikna.
Which means, we're born, if you want to picture this, we're born on a blank piece of paper. Think of a white piece of paper. Or if you're a very kind person, think of like a blue piece of paper. If you're a very angry person, think of a red piece of paper. Meaning, what your DNA is
black.
If you're a depressed person, it may be a little brown. Meaning, what your DNA is, what you were born with, who you are. Some people are born naturally happy, part of chesed. People are givers. Some people are more, this way, that way. We may have experienced that today by chakras. Different people are have different tchunas hanefesh, and that's perfectly okay. That's the color paper that you're born with. Now, every second, from the second you're born, you're writing your story on the paper. And every one of your actions, thoughts, and speeches go down on that piece of paper. And that's what it means, Kol ma'asecha b'sefer nechtavim. Every one of your actions is written on a sefer. That's that original piece of paper that you start writing when you're born. We can, tshuva is an idea of actually going back and changing something that was written in a way, or shining a new way of looking at it so that it was a positive thing. But we're constantly writing. Every second of the day we're writing our story. We don't stop writing our story. When we die, that whole memory, that is our memory. We get to focus on bits and pieces of it. We can pull back that. From 3 years old, we can pull that back. From 10 years old, if I want to think about when I was 19 years old, something. That's just pulling back from the memory that I was been writing my story my whole life. When we die, that stays. That memory goes nowhere. The body goes away. That memory, consciousness, that memory that is not attached to the body. It's not localized. Consciousness is not localized in the brain. Consciousness just is. The story is being written in the story, not in my body. Now that in the cloud, this paper with whatever color you were born with your tchunas and nefesh, with your DNA, that is the story of your life. That's seichel hanikna. Seichel hanikna is that's what you're left with at the end. You know, the potential that you could have brought into your seichel hanikna, you don't tap into that. Who you are when you die is your seichel, is your acquired intelligence. What you acquired, not your potential and not even your active. Your acquired intelligence is what's left on that piece of paper for the afterlife, for eternity. And now that whole memory, depending where it ends up, meaning how refined it is and how much it needs to let go of who it thinks it is, that's the first year that memory thinks it's still Moshiach. Moshiach's buried. But this whole memory doesn't disconnect from Moshiach. I'm Moshiach, but Moshiach is dead. That's the pain of the first year, of the first week of Shiva, is that the body hangs out there. The memory comes back to the house and says, hey, where am I?
Trip.
What's going on? Then 30 days it takes it, that starts chopping. And then it takes a full year for it to really let go and chop. That was not me. This is me. And the more attached we are to who we are, and the more insulted we get when people say things to us, the more difficult it is when we die, because at that point, the letting go of who I thought I was. What do you mean? I'm a somebody. I'm a bigger somebody than somebody else even. And I have somebody to see and something to do, right? Because I'm a somebody. The more somebody you think you are, the more painful death is. And that's what it means, Mises Neshika for tzaddikim. Because they're so not attached to their ego, they're ready to go. They go smoothly.
What does Neshika mean?
A kiss.
I mean dying in your sleep.
It just goes smoothly because
Neshika.
they're not attached to their ego. So they right away go into the peaceful bliss space.
I have a different question. Someone came in this world, thinking about a normal person, but somebody who was not, was a sick kid and he just passed away, and then he said Shiva. Why is it his Shiva running around that? He's there running on this world the second time he came down, the third time he came down, but why is he looking around there if he could do anything and did that when he was there at the time?
Nobody knows.
And then Mitzvahs wasn't Shiva thinking. I didn't do anything. I just did what I had to do. I just got a little bit what I did, and that's it.
At that point,
Okay,
the
generation
understands
before,
exactly.
something ugly. Generation before, fine, okay. But now, I'm sick, like...
I heard from Mashida Shimon, who is very close with the Yitzchak Abachatzera, that somebody who lost his wife came to him and had a lot of kindness and had a lot of questions on Emunah, and he was really giving it to Mashida, and Mashida said, I'm gonna ask Rabbi Yitzchak. He goes, and I came to Rabbi Yitzchak, and I literally took on the persona of that person, and I was asking the questions as if I was him, firing, screaming the same way at Rabbi Yitzchak, the questions that this guy was asking me. And at one point he says, Rabbi Yitzchak goes, whoa. Pipe down. Questions? You have questions that you want answers to? Why did Adam Arishan eat from the Eitz Hadas? I have the first question. Give me that answer, then I'll start answering. I don't know. I have much bigger questions than why this guy's wife died. You want questions? Why did the Holocaust? Why? Questions? Questions is not a thing. Why did Adam Rishon eat from Deitzadas? Tell me why. Questions? Questions is not a thing. It's a very powerful way to understand it. If you're going to get stuck in the question, if questions is your thing, and that's where you're stuck, there's no end to that. You're never going to get an answer to questions. If you're going to be stuck in the question, you'll always be stuck in the question. There's no answer if you're trying to get an answer. So you're asking a question. There's no answer to that. The neshama already knows what it came for and what it needs to do, and the neshama is thrilled. The neshama says, "We're set."
The question is, how many times did the Shavuot come out of this world? And how many times did I come down? I did a question. When you're married, before marriage, you go back to this marriage, or you go to the marriage your previous life?
Which one you like better?
They're all the same marriage. They're all the same.
Who said?
I said.
Well, why do you think that?
Because.
All right, Chavra, we'll continue tomorrow.
Slucha,
Yeah,
slucha.
Somebody get remarried.
Yisha,